Welcome back, everybody. It is Best Bets here today. Schuyler here on Between the Eers. Joining me is Christopher Hall. And today, as you know, every Friday we go through our best bets of the college football weekend. We're trying to get better at this, but I don't know if we're going to make any promises with that. If you know and have been keeping track with us, we've had a rough start. Chris is 5-10 on the year. I'm 7-8. It is what it is. We give 5 bets each week. If you're just now tuning into this episode for the first time, we give 5 bets every week, college football. We try to go 4 college football best bets, and then we give our best bet on the West Virginia game. This week, for me at least, I'll tell you what I like in the West Virginia game, but I'm not putting it on my slate here because I actually do have 5 games outside of West Virginia that I really, really like, and I couldn't get one off the board. So I'm going to give all 5 of those. And then again, I'll give you my WVU plays. So quick recap of last week. My picks, Kansas minus 28 against Nevada. That was a no-go. That was really close all the way throughout. They only scored 31 in that game. App State minus 8.5 covers against East Carolina. Wyoming plus 28 covers easily against Texas. They were in that game for a very long time. Kansas State minus 3.5 was a no-go, as they lost outright on the road to Missouri. And then I had West Virginia minus 2.5 against Pitt. And as you know, West Virginia wins that one 17-6. Chris had Florida State minus 26.5, a big number. And they had to battle all the way back against Boston College just to get back into that one. They ended up winning, surviving, remaining undefeated. Penn State minus 14.5 against Illinois, which covered. Western Michigan plus 28.5 did not cover against Iowa. Oklahoma State minus 7.5 against South Alabama. And God, they only scored 7 points in that game and lost 33-7 to South Alabama. And then Chris also had West Virginia minus 2.5. So let's get this week started. Week 4 best bets. I'm going to kick things off with Clemson and Florida State. Florida State, if you don't know, is Chris's number 2 team. And I'm going to go against the Noles here. I think this is a game where Clemson wins the game outright. They're getting 2.5 points. But if we're going off the odds, I'm just going to go ahead and say they're going to win this game outright at home. Florida State kind of sleptwalked through last week. They're going into a tough environment this week in Death Valley. Clemson needs this win to keep their season really alive, and I think they do, beating the Florida State Seminoles outright at Clemson.
Yeah, I don't like that for Florida State. Something's off about that line. Should be way
It is.
bigger, in my opinion. So Vegas is when something's off, Vegas is usually on with that. I'm gonna go BYU to cover against Kansas. 9.5 points seems like a big spread for Kansas to cover against BYU team that just went into Arkansas last week and won. And Arkansas is a good program right now. It's a good SEC team. So BYU, I wouldn't be surprised if they actually won that game outright. So to me, that seems like an easy pick. So Kansas will probably win by 20.
Well, they'll probably win by 40 now because I have them too. So I actually have them on here as well, a couple of spots down, but I'm going to go ahead and get rid of them here. BYU plus 9.5 too. Like you said, Kansas, they've looked good at times, but I mean, last week they just looked terrible. You would expect that they would have just boat race Nevada, and they didn't do that. Or BYU, on the other hand, looks to be a little bit better than we originally thought. They kind of had a slow start against, I think it was Sam Houston or somebody. They won 14-0, but Sam Houston's played good defense. They played good defense against Air Force. If you look at the Sam Houston line this week, it's like 11 with the total being 36.5. That's a good defensive football team. So I don't know that I read much into that one. I'm with you there. BYU plus 9.5.
I'm going to go Louisville to cover over Boston College, 14.5. Louisville's at home. Seems like a big spread since they just played Florida State close. But like I said last week, that's a red bandana game. I should have taken my own advice on that.
Yeah.
Just play teams close against those games. So they left it out on the field, having to travel against Louisville, not the appeal of a Florida State. Louisville's kind of surprised me this year, so I'm going to take them to cover that.
I'm going to go now to a former West Virginia quarterback, and that's JT Daniels and the Rice Owls. Also, got to give some love to my guys there at Rice. Yeah, back in, 2019, I did some studio hosting for Rice football, so got to give them some love when I can. Minus 2.5 against South Florida. Look, South Florida played well defensively last week against Alabama. but they couldn't score. They only scored 3 points. And I think Rice, they've got so much offensive firepower. I think they win this one easy. And I don't even think I think 2.5 is way, way, way too low. This actually may be my best bet of the weekend.
Uh, Rivalry game. Arkansas at LSU. Arkansas getting 17 and a half points.
It's a lot of
Like
points.
that's a lot of points for a rivalry game. I know LSU's talented. Going back to Arkansas losing to BYU at home, I don't think BYU's getting the love they should probably deserve there. Um, that's a big one. These games tend to be close between these two programs, no matter what the rankings are. So I'm taking out that's 3 scores. It is at LSU, middle of the afternoon in Death Valley, but I'm going to take Arkansas to cover that one.
I'm going out to the Pac-2 championship, Oregon State and Washington State. I'm going with Wazoo covering the 3 points. I actually think they win this game, but just to be safe, and I think it will be a close game, I'll just go ahead and take the points. And maybe at worst, I get a push here. But Cam Ward, one of the best quarterbacks in the country, no one knows about. Started his career at Incarnate Ward, has played really good football since coming to Washington State. I think it's a very good back and forth type of game. It might either be 21-20 or it could be 43-41. I don't really know. Either way, it's going to be tight all the way throughout. So I think Washington State wins, but again, I'll take the points here just to be safe.
This one seems like easy money. North Carolina minus 7.5 over Pitt.
It does seem easy,
Uh,
doesn't it?
Pitt's sticking with their quarterback. North Carolina's very talented. May at quarterback. I don't know how. Um, I mean, Pitt's defense isn't bad. That's a good defense. Maybe they can do enough to keep it close, but I don't know how. Um, I feel like Pitt would have to get at least 2 touchdowns because you feel North Carolina's at least going to get 3 there. So I think this one's an easy one. North Carolina 7.5. It is at Pitt, but I mean that it's a night game. Maybe people will show up for it, but I doubt it.
Hey, and if Chalk holds there, that means Pitt goes to 1-3 on the season, and things are spiraling out of control for Pat Narduzzi and company. So that's an interesting game
Well,
to
according to
watch.
Pitt social media, it's already
It's
out of
already,
control.
yeah.
The love affair with Narduzzi's over.
It lasted all of 2
Shocking.
years, all of
Shocking.
21 games or so. But my last bet here is Notre Dame money line plus 140. Again, I think the wrong team is favored here, Chris. Like, I don't understand how Notre Dame is the home team in this game. They have the better quarterback, they have the better running backs, they have the better defense. I think they have the better offense and defensive line. I think the only difference is Ohio State has better receiver play. But I mean, what has Kyle McCord done at quarterback for Ohio State to even think that he can go on the road and outmatch or outscore Sam Hartman? Sam Hartman's been perfect. 13 touchdowns, no picks. I don't know why Notre Dame is not favored in this game. So I don't care about the points. I'm saying they win this game outright, and I'd shove some big money on this one.
Problem with that, Ohio State's a more physical team. I think that line's probably pretty on point. Since I didn't know we could just pick random games, I'll give an extra one.
Oh, okay.
That Army game, Syracuse, are getting a lot of points. It's an in-state game. Syracuse is the big school in New York. Army with a lot to prove. Army has shown they can score a lot of points this season. I think they could keep within that mark. But I'll do the West Virginia pick. Picking West Virginia to cover 5.5 points. Actually, I have West Virginia winning this game, but I will always take the points. Uh, Not confident in this pick at all because of West Virginia secondary. Texas Tech quarterback Tyler. I think you pronounce his name Show, something like that.
Shuck.
Tyler Shuck. Uh, he leads the Big 12 in passing. They don't as a team. Texas actually does, but best quarterback maybe in the Big 12. Questions at offensive line. A lot of questions in West Virginia secondary. It's really going to be depending on the pass rush on this one. But I think West Virginia can get it done at home. I think they can do ball control, keep the ball out of his hands, and maybe be able to squeak that one out.
So again, I'm not going to put mine out there. This actually, you know what? So, the hell with it. I will. I'll give my best bet, which is the under, because if you read my article earlier in the week, my spread and over under predictions article, I gave a 1-star bet on Texas Tech covering the 6.5. I don't know what's going to happen with the side on that. I really don't. I feel like Texas Tech's probably able to cover this game. I don't know if West Virginia can bounce back and and look good 3 straight weeks in a row. I mean, when's the last? I mean, has Neil Brown won 3 straight games? I mean, I can't remember if he has or not. I don't think he has. But so I'm going to go with the under here, 55.5. Hammer it. I put a 4-star play on this game. West Virginia won 17-6 last week. I just think they know that if they have any chance to win this game, they have to play this game in the 20s. If they get into the 30s or higher, it's going to be tough sledding for West Virginia. So 55.5 under is the play for me. So we'll see what happens. West Virginia, Texas Tech, 3:30 on ESPN Plus. Chris will be there in person to cover the game. Eugene, Napoleon, and myself will be there for the post-game show here on Mountaineers Now. You can follow us on Twitter at Mountaineers Now. Hit subscribe and give us a like on YouTube at Mountaineers Now as well. So for Christopher Hall, I'm Schuyler Callan. You've been watching Between the Eers. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow on the Mountaineers Now post-game show.